Hello, I'm Dan Edmunds from Tarian Technology in Welshpool.
And I'm Detective Constable Gareth Jordan, and I'm from Powys, and I'm based in the cybercrime department here in Carmarthen headquarters.
And today we're going to talk about social engineering and how it can affect those who work in your company.
People are the most breakable of any kind of network system. Social engineering is essentially hacking without any code and is more about psychology than software. Vishing is using a phone to gain information manipulatively to store up later in a cybersecurity attack. Even sending a secure PIN through a phone via text message is not really secure if someone's able to then get access to your phone, for example, pretending to be an emergency, and then they've got access to that information. So, how can astute businesses in Wales be on their guard to sort out the genuine inquiries by customers from the fake ones from clever hackers and scammers?
I think much of the answer there is contained within, we've talked about phishing and vishing before, and certainly phishing is normally going to be a case of where you get something as an email or a hook. Vishing is purely voice phishing. You also get smishing, SMS ishing, which is from a SMS text. You get all sorts of these phishing attempts. And it's all down to what's called social engineering. And that social engineering is one of the areas that I think we all fall foul of so easily, because we're humans, and in the whole we trust people. So therefore, because we trust people, or we're in an area where we are accustomed to people asking those sorts of questions, then we will very much fall into just a normal pattern or a way of life. And it's always been said that a criminal only has to be lucky once, whereas we have to be on our guard 100% of the time. And that's really what it comes down to for businesses, is that who answers the phone in your company? Who is it that is in charge of fielding the calls at the very first point of contact? If you've got a receptionist there, what do they know about all this? Do they know about phishing and smishing and vishing? And do they know about some of the different areas that are used, or the different ways in which these criminals will use it? And social engineering is a real art form, and that's what these criminals will do. They don't just suddenly pick up a phone and target that company straight away. They'll have done their research first of all. They must have gone through the website, they'll have looked through the contacts. They might even have visited that company to see what it's like there, so they get to know what the place looks like. It could be as much as that, or they could just go on Google Maps and they can have a look around what's around that area, so that they know, they've got a little bit of a simulation of it. They might even go onto the BBC weather app prior to making that phone call, just so they know what the weather is like at the time. Really simple things like that put people at their ease, because of the fact that someone phones up and says, "Hi there, yeah, it's terrible weather we're having at the moment, isn't it?" And the person's looking out the window thinking, "Yeah, it is terrible weather." Well, that's your in, that's your first hook. You've now got that little element of trust. Although it might not seem like it's trust, you are now talking to someone as a person, rather than thinking, who is this person? And I think we need to elevate our level of skepticism. And maybe that goes against the grain, but I think certainly within the police, ABC of policing is accept nothing, believe nothing, challenge everything. And from that, by challenging things, it's not to say that you're going to take a worse course for that person, but you will certainly filter out an awful lot of the social engineering aspects of these people. When someone phones up and they pretend to be someone who's interested in something, question them, ask them about their company. Can they email you something from that company? What can they do to prove they are who they are? Because nowadays we have to assume a lot of the time that people will be pretending to be someone else, because that's what criminals will do. The social engineering aspect doesn't just happen on an email. It doesn't just happen on a text. It doesn't just happen through the phone. It can also happen at a bar. You could be in the pub. Someone, if they're insistent on trying to get into your company, will try all different ways of getting in there. Whether it be getting to know someone there, whether it means getting to know someone and their habits and then using blackmailing techniques. That could be another area of social engineering. So what are your employees? What are they looking at in terms of, do they know what they shouldn't be doing on social media? Do they know what they shouldn't be sharing? Do they know how to close their accounts down on Facebook and Instagram, and making sure that other people can't see everything about them? Because if I'm going to go and try and find something out about someone in a company, I'll look all over that company and try and find where the weak points are. If I'm a criminal and I want to break into a building, I look for the weak points. I look and see if there's CCTV. Is there fencing? Is there security? What are the goings and comings? When's the best time? Is it 2 o'clock on a Sunday morning to go and break into that company? And a cyber criminal will do exactly the same thing. Where are the weaknesses within that company? Within those people? How can they socially engineer them? Who are the ones who are disgruntled? Who are the people that don't like the company? Has someone left that company recently that they can befriend, and yet that company hasn't actually taken away the access privileges on the network for that person? When someone leaves the company, how quickly do they become unable to get back on to their account? Is it immediately? Is it 2 months? Do you still have people that have left years ago that could, if they walked back through the door and got onto your network, get back onto your systems? Because if that's the case, that's where the flaws are, that's where they lie. So as businesses, looking at your staff and looking at where the entrance points for cyber criminals are, that means you can assess your company. Does your receptionist have good cyber knowledge? Do they know how people socially engineer? How much time and effort have you put into your receptionists? Because they are your key access points to the rest of your company a lot of the time. Because that's where the phone calls come in the first place. That's where the social engineering is going to start with a person. Sales teams, what do your sales teams know? Salespeople, by their very nature, normally are quite gregarious people, so they will talk to anybody because they want the business, but also because they're that sort of person. So therefore, what do your sales tasks know? What Salesforce, what do they know about things? Have you gone through cybersecurity with them? Do they know all of these different aspects? And then you can get into their password type criteria. How do they protect themselves when they're out at clients, when they're opening up the screens? Do they know that they shouldn't be able to be seen typing into a keyboard their password? Because when you're somewhere, you could be in a Starbucks, you don't know who's there shoulder surfing you. They could be looking at you typing in your password. Is that password generic to that company, to all their computers? All those sorts of things need to be started to looked at and thinking, yes, oh, this sounds a little bit sort of James Bondy, or it says there's a criminal around every corner. Unfortunately, you don't know where the criminals are nowadays, and so it just depends. They could be sitting on the software that you're using on your computer, or they could actually be in the coffee shop across the road trying to steal your company's secrets or trying to get into that company's data. Because the easiest way into a company nowadays is via their computer system rather than through the front door.